It is Friday, August 10th, 2018. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And it was a very confusing get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. I don't know, I've been having some issues with regard to jiu-jitsu. Today was kind of interesting, though, in that I was rolling with this gentleman, and he was just going a little bit too hard. I feel like I was like frustrating him or something, and I tend to employ a lot of strength, and so my opponents tend to apply a lot of strength, and I think he was just, he was going with it, and he just went a little bit too hard, and he pulled my arm into an arm bar, and he didn't hurt me. I mean, he didn't break it or anything, but it didn't feel good. I'm like, hey, and I kind of yelped out in pain, and so, but yeah, and he didn't want to finish up after that. I mean, we had about a minute to go, and I just had to walk in circles and whatnot. So it was kind of an unfulfilling get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. It's kind of a confusing feeling, because like I've been talked to about, going easier and whatnot, and I've been trying to do that. It's just that, sometimes I think that others aren't as conscientious, or maybe haven't had that same talk, or I don't know that but like I said, he's a younger guy, and I'm sure the testosterone just got the best of him. It happens. I can only imagine being his age and doing that. It's one of the reasons why I did kind of avoid doing jiu-jitsu at his age, only because I could feel my own passions with it, and I had enough trouble in regular martial arts with, hurting people. And again, it's not something that, like, you want to do it or anything. It's just you're in battle, and you're that's it. You're in battle, I mean, there's there's shots being fired, and there's hits being taken, and there's somebody's trying to wrap you up and choke you out and break your arm and shit like that. I mean, come on now. This is combat. That's what jiu-jitsu is. And I expressed that same sentiment, when Coach kind of pulled us aside at the end, and it's like, hey, what was that about? I'm like, oh, he was just going too hard, but, oh well, and he asked me, though, he's like, oh, now were you going too hard? And well, I was kind of going hard, only because that's what I do, but I wasn't going, like, so hard that was absolutely necessary. And plus, usually if you've got the arm bar in, you got your legs locked around my arm, and there's no way I'm gonna get out. Yes, I'm gonna fucking tap. It's not necessary to throw the hips forward and yard back on my fucking wrist like it's a slot machine or something like that. Come on now. I mean, I am big and I am strong, but I am human. It is possible to hurt me, and if it starts becoming an issue where that's like happening habitually, I can reciprocate. I don't think that's the issue. I think, like I said, I think testosterone just got him. Anywho, let's go ahead and throw down into some music, because I have not done any yet. And as far as the first dance, fuck it. It's got to be Fight 'Em Till You Can't by Anthrax, here on Coin Metal. And that was Rivers of Nile with Death Is Real. Yeah, as far as where we were going to go with today, I don't know. I got kind of sidetracked earlier on today. Guy that I've been friends with on Twitter and other social media. Not going to disclose names for right now. Kind of misconstrued me, as he's done before, but we it's only such a limited medium, as far as communication goes, and a lot of times we're addressing some really complex issues here online. I happen to be a First Amendment absolutist, and I know that kind of offends some people, but you know what? We need room to offend one another. If we don't have that room, we can't actually have critical conversations where we can be honest about what we're trying to address. And we got to be all sneaky about what we're trying to say. And there's so much room for ambiguity and so much room for misunderstanding. And so, as far as I'm concerned, when we start trying to constrain the speech of others, invariably we will find ourselves with our tongues constrained as far as what we can say and what we can do. And who wants to live in that fucking world? Certainly not me. I want to be able to say what the fuck I want to say. And I want you to be able to say what the fuck you want to say back to me. You say, dude, I don't agree with you at all. See, that conversation itself can't even happen under the circumstances in which we're so afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. Oh my God. And it gets me in trouble. But the fact of the matter is I'm not harming anybody. I am not physically harming anybody with what I'm saying. I'm conveying ideas. And I convey perspectives, and sometimes people disagree with me. And you know what? That's fine too. I want them to be able to say, dude, I disagree with you. Because as long as they can, I can say that back to them. So yeah, I'm down for preserving your right to speech because I'm of the opinion that when we start closing other people off, like I said, invariably we end up closing ourselves off. And what bugs me about it the most is this: there's more fucking technology available right now that enables you to communicate with people in ways that have never been possible before. And there's people out there that want to put a cap on that. Can you fucking believe it? I mean, I should be live streaming this from like the Cayman Islands or some shit like that, and like let you guys see the background and have a drone feed and come on, man. That all that shit's possible right now. And so, like I said, the idea of trying to contain communication and inhibit communication in such an era, I take offense at that. I think it's so silly. It's like, dude, come on now. You could probably, if you really had a legitimate bitch with somebody, a legitimate beef with something very, very specific that they said, something that they've done, whatever. You could track that motherfucker down either on social media or even preempt the whole thing and like write a blog about it or do a video about it. Create the portal for communication. That's what I try to do on this show. Get the talk going, because that is how we resolve shit. Most certainly the easiest way to do it, no need to get kinetic. Anyway, I got this article here on Business Insider, and we're just going to roll with it because, honestly, it's the first tab that I have open here. Oh, wait a minute, wait. I want to do this other one. I saw this one. I'm sorry, they're kind of all over the place already today, but I saw this one earlier, and I had a conversation with somebody about IOTA, and being of the mind that we should be communicating openly about these things, I was curious. I'm like, okay, so you're an IOTA investor, like what? what made you say, hey, this is the thing that makes me want to invest in IOTA? And he really couldn't tell me. And so that was like red flag number like 80 million for IOTA as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, this is on Cointelegraph.com, and let's verify that it's an actual full article and not a... Oh, well, we could just do the statement. Yeah. Oh, cool. It's 2 pages, and so we're not going to do the... we might go back to that article from IOTA from Cointelegraph. Anyway, this is a update from IOTA. This is files.iota.org, comms, IOTA Foundation, update, blah, blah, blah. Update from the IOTA Foundation Board of Directors and Founders. Berlin, August 8th, 2018. The IOTA Foundation is a young institution. Our team has grown from a handful of members to almost 100 in less than a year. We are a very well funded startup at the intersection of one of the most innovative areas of technology and a sometimes toxic market. As we are just learning to walk, while fostering prominent corporate and social partnerships, our exposure to the global spotlight has forced us to quickly learn to communicate like a publicly listed company. Today, a heated discussion amongst the founders and the current board was leaked. Let's investigate that. In the interest of full transparency, we would like to provide some background. Anyone who has been through a heavy growth phase similar to the IOTA Foundation's understands that there is a significant emotional journey involved. We have seen friends turn into founders and founders become key decision makers in a multi-billion-dollar project faced with countless challenges. Welcome to fucking crypto, dude. When the IOTA Foundation was registered for reasons of timing and simplicity, 2 of IOTA's founders, Sergey Popov and Sergey Ivanchenko, or Cheglo, my apologies, decided not to join the Foundation's official board of directors. In March 2018, David Stonstebo suggested that we correct these omissions and invite the missing founders to the official board. A unanimous decision was made by the current board, Dominic Shiner and David Senstebo and Ralph Rotman, to honor the initial founders by nominating them for board membership. This was, however, contingent upon some changes to the IOTA Foundation statute. The current IOTA Foundation statute grants the right to nominate board members exclusively to Dominic Shiner, who it also allows board members to delegate their voting rights. In fact, there are a number of other minor oversights that the board has agreed to address with the supervisory board. These stem from a lack of experience in setting up a non-profit, charitable, crypto-related foundation and extreme time pressures at the time of registration. The ultimate aim is to build a larger and more diverse board in order to approach important decisions from a wider perspective. To this end, a list of changes to the statute were devised in order to allow the board to collectively nominate new board members and B, remove board... That was an A, I guess? A, allow the board members to collectively nominate new board members, and B, remove board members' ability to delegate their voting rights to other board members, thus making sure that when tough decisions are to be made, all views are truly represented. However, changing the statute of a German charitable nonprofit can only be done via a supervisory board resolution. As the initial constitutional meeting of the current IOTA Foundation Supervisory Board was only planned for September 2018, this introduced a non-negligible delay to instituting these changes. These circumstances led to a situation where two of the IOTA founders have been waiting for board seats for more than 4 months. Unfortunately, sufficient priority was not given to this open issue, and there was a failure to keep the missing board members informed about progress. Following these months of stasis, the issue culminated in a heated discussion on our internal Slack, in which one of the founders asked Dominic Scheiner, chairman of the board, to step down. Sergei Ivanchenko Cheglo has since stated that asking for Dominic to resign was an emotional reaction to the situation, which had built up over months. The situation did not feel fair to him, being an integral member of the team behind IOTA as we know it today. The current board has decided to move forward with inviting the two missing founders into the IOTA Foundation Board of Directors based on a mutually signed Memorandum of Understanding which defines the modus operandi for collaboration until the changes to the statute can be formally established. We are committed to having the Memorandum of Understanding and nominations completed no later than August 10th, 2018, and will follow up with an update. We thank everyone for their ongoing support. Okay, so there's that. And let's see if there was any more to that. Okay. And so now, there was this addendum. And I guess this was a little bit of background to what was going on. And apparently there were some issues. We will follow this up. So this is by from on pastebin.com. So apparently it's some archive discussion. Sergei Ivanchenko, I inform everyone that I don't longer trust Dominic Scheiner, and I think he should quit the IOTA Foundation for the better future of IOTA. I won't expand on the details now, but you can get some information from the chat log below. Let's see here. Raf Rotman 27. I want to give a final update to you guys joining on the board before David takes over. Number one, the current board has agreed on bringing you into the board a while ago. Number two, however, we agreed contingent on a change of the statute. The current statute allows for board members to delegate their voting rights. So I could delegate my voting rights to Dom, and he would have 2 votes instead of 1. As the sole purpose of a diverse board is to hear everyone out and get different angles, we don't want this to happen. As a consequence, this statute needs to be changed. That seems reasonable. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to follow all of this up. But yeah, so they're having some issues with regard to their delegating of authority and whatnot. Yeah, I'm looking through this, and it seems it's an interesting discussion. I'm not going to follow all of it, though. There's a lot of it here. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should. I mean, because we got enough time. We got more than enough time. And, yeah, why not? You know, I've been thinking about it, and I've spent so little time on other projects other than, like, Bitcoin and regulation of it. It's good to kind of break out. And I know, I know some might look at it as like shilling some other project and whatnot, but honestly, I think it's good to get as deep a perspective into other projects as you possibly can. I mean, especially if they're competing projects, not only to get an idea of how they view their business, but also maybe they experience some sort of challenge that you're currently facing, and maybe it might give you some sort of insight hearing it from somebody else's perspective. Perspective matters. That's going to be the title for this one, definitely. This is a big one, so we're going to go for it. Alright, so this is Raf Rotman 27. I want to give a final update on you guys joining the board before David takes over. The current board has agreed on bringing you into the board a while ago. However, it was agreed upon. We already read that part. As a consequence, that statute needs to be changed. And that was the statute pertaining to the voting rights of the members of the IOTA board. Continuing on number 3, changing the statute of a German foundation is not easy. It requires a supervisory board resolution. For that, the supervisory board must be constituted. This requires a constitutional in-person meeting, during which the first order of business is to approve the budget. The constitutional meeting hasn't happened yet, and we don't yet have a budget. David has agreed to take responsibility for this chain of events. Based on my experience with other board seats, it should be doable until September if one provides perfect briefings to the supervisory board up front. Otherwise, given that these guys are liable and seasoned managers who understand the magnitude of their decisions, it might take longer. I highly recommend that we ask Dentons to proactively do a conflict of interest assessment, at least for the CFB, as the pending Quebec IP transfer and the money involved should be cleared up front. We've asked the same when I got nominated, and Grand Centrix is not remotely as involved as IOTA as involved in IOTA as Origin Labs, I guess. Otherwise, we always risk to lose our non-profit status. Again, some background, should we ever lose our non-profit status, we'd have to pay taxes on everything up to 10 years backwards. All board members, independent from citizenship, are personally liable, should, if not be able to pay those taxes in such an event. I hope this helps all of us be on the same page, and hand it over to David to provide the next update. Edited. Next one is Sergey Ivanchenglo, 31. Agree on 2, but I have a question. The Constitution guarantees us the right to have a representative. Can the statute violate that right? I doubt. David Stunstebo, 31. Thanks, Raf. The Satzung/statute is indeed something the supervisory board has to approve, but nomination of board members is something that can be done for all practical purposes immediately. We will naturally inform the entire foundation that we are changing the Satzung and thus committing to no delegation of votes. It's a technicality, nothing more. The entire Satsang as it stands today is a joke anyways. As soon as we state publicly that no one is going to utilize this loophole, the entire foundation would turn on the individual that would exploit it. You're assuming that it's somebody within the foundation that would turn to exploit it. Ruff Rotman, 36. At David, I have to think about that. Our agreement on the board was to first change the statute and then proceed. Reversing the order based on mutual trust is difficult for me, given some of the other discussion we are currently having. For the moment, I disagree, and we have to follow the journey we agreed upon. But let's continue in private. At CFB, no, it cannot. You can always send your lawyer, for example, but it can prohibit you from delegating to someone who is also on the board. In fact, that's how it's normally done. It's one of the many oversights in our current statute that needs correcting. Full disclosure, the current statute also puts Dom over David in many cases. Along with the changes required to bring you guys onto the board, we want to correct those too. David's son Stebo, 36. Not much to think about. There are currently similar loopholes in the satsang as you've pointed out. This is a technicality that is negated by public communications about it. Anything else is lack of commitment to agreements. Sergei Ivanchenko, 43. Our agreement on the board was to first change the statute and then proceed. When I was insisting on changing the statute almost a year ago, there were more important things to do. Now, changing the statute is put at number 1. These constant lags shouldn't be tolerated. Tomorrow, we may have to start doing work instead of finding excuses not to. Raf, besides of reversing the order, there are objective things preventing me joining if? Dominic Shiner, 44. We are too busy fighting all the time. Sergei Ivanchenko, 44. You are too busy fighting. Yes. David's son Stebo, 45. This discussion is not about that. This is strictly about the long overdue nomination of Popov and Ivanchenko to the board, which can be done immediately. David Shiner, 46. The satsang has to change first, which we agreed on in several board calls. Sergei Ivanchenko, 46. It all can be done in parallel, right? David's son Stebo, 46. After recent events, this has changed, Dominic, which you are all well aware. Dominic Shiner, 46. Satsang has to be changed first, then the nominations can happen. David's son Stebo, no. Nominations can happen immediately. Resistance to do so shows lack of trust in Popov and Ivanchenko. I seriously hope this insane paranoia will soon disappear. Sergei Ivanchenko, why the order can't be changed? Raf Rotman, absolutely. It's just important to point out that these are not ulterior motives or causing delays on purpose. We sometimes forget that the founders chose, quote, foundation for a reason. That's at least my impression. A foundation has no boss, no owner, no founder, no shareholders. All of these superiors' roles deliberately cease to exist the moment you decide to do a foundation. For the simple reason to avoid power grabs at all cost, because power grabs are almost always an indication for not being a charitable non-profit. That's the sole rationale. As a consequence, there are very clear and strict rules and formal obligations, and those take time. Davidson Stebo. A simple public statement reading, quote, all of the board members commit to not utilize the right to delegate votes, which is being removed in the updated satsang, would eliminate risk of such insanity. Dominic Shiner, 48. It seriously does not. David Sunstebo. No, nominations can happen immediately. Resistance to do so shows lack of trust in Popov and Ivanchenko. I seriously hope this insane paranoia will soon disappear. Directly messaged today at 12:47 a.m. Sergei Ivanchenko, 48, because... Dominic Shiner, 48. Didn't we agree to do a call with both Popov and CFB before their nominations? I don't even know what they will be doing on the board. I've been trying to get this information out of CFB, but all I got was 3 bullet points. And one was TBD. Man, that's a specific set of instructions right there, isn't it? Sergei Ivanchenko, 49. Dom, did I get it right? I need your permission to join the board, but you refuse to give it? Dominic Shiner, 49. Where do I even refuse it? LOL. Ralph Rotman, 50. David, please do not imply that this is about not trusting Popov or CFB. It's not. There is no need for any debate here. We have a crystal clear board decision. Change of status. Then bring on new board members, completely decoupled from whom we bring on. It's to protect the foundation from us. Dominic Shiner. I want to once and for all understand what you will be doing on a very operationally active board. This is a non-profit foundation with a public duty. Survey Ivanchenko. So, what reasons not allowing me to join the board tomorrow? 1, 2, and 3? Ralph Rotman, 51. The ability to delegate your voting rights. That's it. No 2 and 3. David Sunstebo. Meaning you don't trust CFB and Popov to be independent thinkers that make their own decisions, yet we are to trust Dominic with his insane satsang, which we've tolerated since inception. Interesting how that goes. Ralph Rotman, 52. It's really that simple. Otherwise, I can't ask Dom to nominate Martin and have him delegate his voting rights to me immediately. Doesn't make sense, or... Dominic Shiner, 52. CFB. When is the last time we called? Ralph Rotman, 52. No, David, not at all. That's why the changes will include fixing these mistakes. Dominic Shiner, 52. I had a call with Popov last week. David Sonstebo, 52. How many times do I have to say it? Popov and CFB votes on their own. They would never delegate vote to me. We can make a public statement about it, tying that person to it. Ralph, which has now taken 8 months. There is no consistency here. If you trust Popov and CFB, there is no reason to worry. Dominic Shiner, 54. I appreciate the trust that was given, and so far I have not failed anyone. In fact, have been part in resolving some legally pending issues that impact the future of the entire foundation. Is it really too much to do a call for CFB and us? David Sunstebo. Meaning you don't trust CFB and Popov to be independent thinkers and make their own decisions, yet we are to trust Dominic with this insane satsang, which we've tolerated since inception. Interesting how that works, blah, blah, blah. Why are we getting repeats of those? That's weird. Sergei Ivanchenko, 54. When was the last time we called? 14 months ago, when we were showing how we pronounce phrases with scary voice. Why? David Sunstebo, 55. So let me get this on the record. You are appreciative of the trust given, but you can't reciprocate because you believe I can force votes by having Popov and CFB delegate theirs to me? Dominic Shiner, 55. LOL. I actually forgot about that. Ralph Rotman, 55. Okay, let's make this about trust then. Though it is not, here's what we can do. We can start including CFB and Popov into our board calls and decisions. That way we can act as if we are a board already. In parallel, you take care for the supervisory stuff and the change of statute, and then we formally nominate. Given that we all trust each other, that should be the best of both worlds. David Sunstebo, 55. This is what the entire discussion boils down to. Let's remove all the superfluous nonsense and red herrings. No, either this is official or it is an official statement of distrust. Wow. What's with the ultimatums, dude? Dominic Shiner, 56. CFB, why? Because we have weekly board calls where all of us align and make key decisions. You want to be part of the board, which I fully understand, but right now I have absolutely no clue what you will be doing. Is it really asking for too much to do a call and discuss that? Do you not trust me enough to do a call with me? Sergei Ivanjenglo, 57. Because we have weekly board calls where all of us align and make key decisions. Board calls with voice, recorded. Ralph Rotman, 57. Thank God we don't record those. Sergei Popov, 58. Guys, number one, we are on the same boat, which still has to survive the storm. In particular, don't forget that we need to be ready for any surprises tomorrow. Number two, of course I won't delegate the voting power. Number three, I'm a researcher and will always remain one. However, I will do my best to help IOTA in any possible way, including coordinating the research efforts from the board side. Sergei Ivanjenglo, 58. Ralph, what's reason of having board calls which are not recorded? Dominic Shiner, 58. Voice calls. David Sunstebo, 59. Why force a man that, since you have known him, does not like to talk via voice? He is more than adept enough with words through his keyboard. It is safer after all, a key ingredient to how IOTA came to be. This is another goddamn red herring. Sergei Ivanjenglo, 59. At Dom, voice calls is not a problem. I can have simultaneous interpreter on them. I'm trying to get, if you don't want me to join, use underscore voice underscore calls to discriminate. Is it the only reason? Sergei Popov, 00. I can be your interpreter. Smile. Sergei Ivanjenglo. I had voice calls with my USA lawyers. No problem. Dominic Shiner. Great. So let's do a call tomorrow and discuss how this will look like clearly. Sergei Ivanjenglo. No. Answer my question. What reasons not to let me join? Dominic Shiner. Dude, you are going in circles. Sergei Ivanjenglo. Number one, voice calls next. Dominic Shiner. Number one, voice call. Number two, align and define roles and responsibilities of each of you. Number three, elect. Can all happen within the same day. Sergei Ivanjenglo, 03. Alright, I'm tired. Either we start the procedure within 1 hour, or I'll publicly declare impeachment to Dom and request him to resign from IOTA Foundation. First on general channel of this Slack, then on Twitter, if this doesn't harm IOTA Foundation. 2300 UTC of today is the deadline. I hope no one minds if I publish this chat log. Davidson Stebo. I'm fine with the chat log going public if it needs to. Dominic Shiner. What the fuck is this? LOL. Ralph Rotman. At CFB. I would be happy to switch to written communication whenever possible. Absolutely no discrimination there, but let me be clear on one important aspect. I try not to make this about personal stuff like trust, etc., because nothing about this is personal or should be personal. Voting requires 2/3 of all members present. If we have calls, voice calls, and some of us decide not to take part, the rest can still vote. I'm fine with this chat log to go public. Dominic Shiner. You guys are essentially threatening me now? Sergey Ivanjenglo. Ralph, at Ralph, don't waste time, please. It's all clear to me regarding Dom. Either I'm in or he's out. Wow. Dude. Dominic Shiner. This is a joke. I'm off for tonight. All I asked for was a call, and now I get public impeachment. Haha. Sergey Ivanjenglo. I promise I don't threatening. Dominic Shiner. No, you are. Sergey Ivanjenglo. Time is ticking. Davidson Stebo. I think he's saying he's not threatening, he will do it. Ralph Rotman. What does that say about the trust that David was so eager to build this board upon? Sergey Ivanjenglo. At Ralph. Spend these minutes on thinking whom you will support, please. Sergey Popov. Guys, can I humbly remind you that we will maybe having a major crisis tomorrow, Black Hat, which could require a quick action? Sergey Ivanjenglo. We can resolve it without Dom. Dominic Shiner. Great move, CFB and David. You are destroying the entire project. Davidson Stebo. You're the ones distrusting me. Popoff and Ivanjenglo with conspiracy theories of delegated votes. I have said for months now that the only way to repair the board is to bring in the original founders and have a diverse board with the people behind the majority of the technological principles and theoretical principles. This means we can start to finally get rid of this internal nonsense politics and have a board that can talk to the respective heads of directly from board level. That is the entire purpose here. Dominic Shiner. Good luck. IOTA AS will have some serious legal issues with the advisor tokens and the impending tax audit. I'm done with this. I'm done with being threatened. This is the course of action that both of you want to take, then I'm all for it. If you want to be enemies, let's fight. Davidson Stebo. This is beyond childish. This has been an issue that could have been resolved for months now. The only thing stopping the nomination is your own paranoia about Popov and Ivanjenglo somehow being my puppets. Dominic Shiner. The words of CFB today are enough for me to know what is going on. I'm off for tonight as I have some poems to write. Priorities. Davidson Stebo. That CFB is willing to go public about an attempt to hijack the project? Yay. I would be disappointed if he wouldn't be able to stand for that. Dominic Shiner. At CFB, make sure to ping me at Dom Shiner on Twitter so I can retweet it in the morning. Hijack, man, I want a fucking call. LOL. This is ridiculous. It is, dude. I agree with you, Dominic. Sergey Popov. I'm available for the call. No, oh, hey, there we go. Little desire to resolve some issues there, apparently. Sergey Ivanchenglo. I'll post it on Twitter only if majority of if members don't mind. Against that, till that it will be kept inside our team. Good enough. Dominic Shiner. Why don't you want public drama? I think all of us need a bit of entertainment right now. David Son Stevo. No, we need actions and results. Enough talking. Enough goddamn conspiracy theories. This is so fucking straightforward and simple. Sergey Ivanchenglo. You can still accept my offer to finish the process of me and Popov joining the board. All the documents are ready according to Ralph. Dominic Shiner. I have requested for many actions from you for many months. Every time it doesn't get done, I get shit for it. Unclaimed is a very good example. David Son Stevo. No, we need actions and results. Enough talking, enough goddamn conspiracy theories, blah blah blah. David Son Stevo. This is another attempt at red herring. This is a straightforward thing. Dominic Shiner. You can still attempt my offer to do a call. Sergey Ivanchenglo. You can still accept my offer to finish the process of me and Popov joining the board. All of the documents are all ready according to Ralph. Let's see. Sergey Ivanchenglo, you can still accept my offer to do a call. I don't accept it, and you are free to not accept mine. 45 minutes left. David Son Stevo. Why even waste time on a call when you know it can be just as easily sorted out with a damn chat like it has in the last years? It's not like asking for something you know will just cause delays. Ralph Rotman. At CFB, I will support IOTA stiff tongue. What's that? I'm legally liable for IOTA stiff tongue and the people we've employed. David appealed to trust as an essential value among the board members. How is you threatening to kill the entire project in line with that? What about trying to get a supervisory board resolution tomorrow? We can try. They can say no, but maybe they just sign it. David Son Stevo. We need no supervisory board resolution for this. Why would we even bring it in to erode their trust in the board? David Shiner. We are electing board members for life. We are supposed to trust each other. We are supposed to lead a billion-dollar project and foundation together. If a call is too much for both of you, then I suggest we go down this path and have a public fight about it. Don't need to remind me of the time. I'm off in 5 minutes. Sergey Ivanchenglo. You can still attempt my offer to do a call. I don't accept it, and you're free to not accept mine. 45 minutes left, blah, blah, blah. David Son Stevo. Fortunately, the record shows that your only resistance to it is a conspiracy theory, so it won't be hard to communicate the truth. Dominic Shiner. Sounds good. Anyway, guys, I'm open for a call anytime tomorrow except 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'm going offline now. David Son Stevo. Again, let the record show who did what here tonight. Sergey Ivanchenglo. At CFB, I will support IOTA shift tongue. I am legally liable for blah blah blah. I respect this decision and I like it. I hope you will stay with us. Dominic Shiner 20. Great. While you're at it, you are collecting information. Please do make sure that you collect all the other pending information we've been waiting for, as that information has actual legal implications on all of us, so it would be good to resolve those issues once and for all. David Son Stevo. Again, let the record show who did what here tonight. Ralph Rotman. The record shows, David, that you don't want to honor a board-level agreement, changing the statute, which also puts you into a position to nominate board members prior to adding additional board members. This is not about CFB and Popov. At the core, this is about the current board. We've decided on a path forward. It has taken too long. We've not done a good job communicating this path to CFB and Popov. There is a lot we can learn from it. Dominic Shiner. But I understand that all of us here really like drama and probably need a bit of entertainment while the price is down, and I'm not too opposed to it, to be honest. David Sunstebo. I have quotes directly from Dominic Shiner threatening to quit if Popov is put on the board. I am not at all worried about anything in this saga being public in terms of my own reputation. Dominic Shiner. Yeah, everything related to the satsang and the delegation rights, what we have been discussing this whole time here. Ralph Rotman. This won't be a problem for anyone's reputation. We all have people loyal to us. All I care about is the people we've asked to quit their jobs to work for IOTA Foundation. We are doing them a huge disservice. David Sunstebo. We trusted Dominic with the current fucked satsang. Fusect? I'm assuming that's fucked. Satsang. The months and months of delays, the excuses, etc. However, Dominic refuses to trust Ivan Jenglo and Popov for no other reason than the fact that he has a conspiracy theory in his head that I somehow control them. I have already proposed a solution that removes this loophole from being utilized. Dominic Shiner. Anyways, good luck collecting this information. I'm offline now. All of you should consider the repercussions of your actions and the way this will affect other issues. Good luck. David, at last time I checked, you approved the satsang in its entirety. You even agreed to go this route, and I have Anka and Julie to prove it. But feel free to twist reality as usually. David Sunstebo, 23, false. But okay, let this be the record. Ralph Rotman, 25. Man, when I started this thread, I wanted to give a neutral update on where we stand with bringing you guys onto the board. Here we are, having one of the founders threatening to kill the entire project. What does that say about our current state of mind? Sergei Ivan Jenglo. Project won't be killed. Don't worry. Just one of the top managers will quit. Notice I haven't used founder. David Sunstebo, 28. Ralph, words are fine. I love poetry. Actions, however, are defining. This is as simple as nominating the two other actual co-founders of this project, which has already been agreed. Then a technicality in the satsang, the very same satsang that has a worse technicality for Dom's power, is being used as an excuse. It's a damn joke. Sergei Ivan Jenglo, 30 mins. Ralph Rotman. We've got a running timeline there, or time clock there with Sergei. Ralph Rotman, 34. David, I agree that this could be debatable, and maybe we, the current board, should open it up for discussion again. What I'm saying is, we currently do have a board agreement that you were part of, and in favor. Well, maybe not, but you did agree, and I can see that all of the delays now make you questioning whether it was the right thing to do. It just doesn't change that we did agree on the exact path. I'm happy to revisit the decision, given that a supervisory board meeting is likely a few weeks away. I understand that we might want to choose a different path, but that should not happen via threats or CFB counting down the minutes. All that does is strengthening the idea of somebody not being qualified to be on a board of a legal entity like IOTA Stiftung. Because founder or not, running a foundation requires to act professionally. Counting down the minutes is the opposite. I can only speak for myself here, but I'd agree to proceeding with the board additions without a change of the statute. If we set a contract in place between the four of us, filling in the intermediate rules for collaboration, I just cannot come up with it in 27 minutes. Sergei Ivanchenglo. I gave almost 1 year. You're just not aware of things that had happened before you joined, so don't use minutes, please. Ralph Rotman, 36. That is true. I cannot time travel. David Sunstebo, 36. No, Ralph, I was never in agreement that this would be pending a supervisory board decision in September. This is a blatant lie. I know CFB. He does not fuck around with his deadlines. If this is what it takes to get rid of the root cause, so be it. Root canals always hurt. Ralph Rotman, 37. Okay, David, let me rephrase. Because I don't want to be unfair, we did agree on the statute change. None of us have been aware none of us might have been aware at that time that this might lead to it taking ages. Is that fair? David Sunstebo. Satzung change, not board members. If that was the case, I would not be pushing for it every fucking day since since then. New pardon rule is vacating. I don't know what that word is. I will CC you to the lawyers tonight. Blah blah. Seriously, I don't play with this stupid game. Time is ticking fast. I have said all I have to say. I will be feeding my cats now. Survey Ivanchenglo, 39. Ralph, excuse me, why wasn't I asked? Why was my request to change those paper has been ignored for that long? Even if you come to agreement with others, there is still me who didn't agree on that. Ralph Rotman, at CFB. That might have been a mistake. Same is true for Popov. Us having spoken about you guys and not with you guys wasn't good. Essentially, that's why I opened this very group, because I sensed that there is so much misunderstanding everywhere and fighting. Sergei Ivanchenglo, 40. Were you asked, by the way? Ralph Rotman. No, he wasn't. Sergei Ivanchenglo. So MTHCL invented Tangle. I coded IOTA using Tangle, and we both weren't asked about such important issues. Do I get it right? And then Dom finds excuses to not let us join the board. This will end today, trust me. Ralph Rotman at CFB. Don't blame me. You weren't on the board when I joined. I wondered about it actually when I joined. Ask David. I always thought there was a reason for that, and the four of you had agreed to. Survey Ivanchenglo. I don't blame personally you, though you might change the order of events in these conditions. Well, too late it seems. Ralph Rotman, 45. But it seems as if I'm the last man standing here and from the current board. Neutral face. And I cannot do anything on my own and alone. My suggestion is to sign a document tomorrow, CFB, Popov, David, Dom, Ralph, that defines some aspects of our future collaboration on the board. I volunteer to draft it, then bring you on the board immediately, and have the statute reflect that we write into that document in September. Sergei Ivanchenglo, 46. Sorry when I give ultimatums, I follow them no matter what. It's about my personal reputation. David Sunstebo. I can attest to. Ralph Rotman. Well, then that's the way this has to go down. Unfortunately, I guess. I feel genuinely sorry for the people who have trusted us. We failed miserably. But we all might get good book deals. David Sonstebo. Indeed. Survey Ivan Jenglo. I feel genuinely sorry for the people who trusted us. We failed miserably. Don't over-dramatize. Dom will quit and we'll reach our goals without him. Almost no one failed. Ralph Rotman. I might offer jobs to my direct reports and some of their teams should the fallout of this crash our valuation and hence render if unable to pay these people. That's all I can offer. Obviously, I will first resign should this turn out the way I expect it to. Sergey Ivan Junglo, 51. Should the fallout of this crash our valuation and hence render it unable to pay these people, even if this incident becomes public, you'll be surprised how the market will react. David Sonstebo, 51. That's honorable, Ralph. Almost as honorable as refusing to own this. Dominic even admitted an hour ago that this is due to his conspiracy theory, of which there is zero evidence. So this is the record now. Ralph Rotman, 55. For me, it is and has always been about a decision we made on the board that you were a part of. We, David, Dom, and Ralph, failed to keep CFB and Popov closely updated. We, David, Dom, and Ralph, underestimated how long the statute changes will take. All of this is fixable. I made a very reasonable suggestion that we would resolve it within the next 24 hours. If you're willing to risk the entire project over 24 hours versus 24 minutes and a, quote, reputation for keeping ultimatums, well then this is how it has to be. The public will ultimately judge on their own. Just thinking about, quote, all of the other stuff that will come to light makes me extremely worried. Not for myself, but we are all grown-ups. David Sonstebo. Again, Ralph, this is false and the records show it. You know very well how many times I have brought this topic up. Hell, it is even discussed at some with most of the people present. This all boils down to Dominic's insane hypocrisy and conspiracy theory, and now that he had a chance to actually resolve it, he instead went the childish route of refusing to own mistakes. Ralph Rotman. Then let us fix it within the next 24 hours, David. David Sonstebo. No, Dominic chose to AFK. This was a decision. This was him essentially saying, fuck IOTA Foundation, fuck IOTA, fuck the founders, fuck the team, fuck the community. There are no ifs or buts here. Sergey Ivan Jenglo, if you're willing to risk the entire project, what risk? Dom was going to quit IOTA Foundation several times anyway. This time I'll help him. It's obvious that he can't live such stressful life as he is living now, so he can return back to the lifestyle he used to. Wow. And so there you have it. The drama of IOTA. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. That was very long and laborious. And yeah, I need some hydration. Anyway, let's see, what haven't we played yet? We played a little bit of Slayer, we played a little bit of Slipknot. You know what, we haven't played any Prong? That's almost a crime. We better resolve that. And so here we go. Compulsive future projection. After the drama of IOTA, I think this one's necessary. Compulsive future projection by Prong here on Coin Metal. Sorry about that. That was Anthrax. Antisocial was the last song up. As for the song that's currently playing, if you're digging that was Disturbed Criminal. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, with regard to IOTA, that's just like one of those things you have to expect. You know, any of these projects that you hear about with delegated proof of stake or proof of work or delegated anything, just forget about it. Just forget about it. Somebody's blowing smoke up your ass, because eventually it's going to end up getting corrupted, similar to like this IOTA Foundation thing. And when I say corrupted, I don't mean explicitly that a exterior agent will infiltrate and fuck things up from the inside. It's just that people are very, very self-interested. And a lot of times it's hard to discern between people making political moves and people making technical moves and having technical drives. And a lot of times things in the cryptocurrency space are actually personally driven. We are all supposed to be operating out of our own self-interest. You know, that's like one of the key foundations of Bitcoin, is that through acting out of our own best interest and knowing that all of our money is tied up in Bitcoin or whatever project that we're invested in, that we have that much more interest in maintaining the validity of the chain. That's how this shit's supposed to work. And eventually that's how it is always expressed. And I know some people like to deny that and give other reasons for, you know, the price going up or the price going down. The price is what the price is, because that is the reflection of the market sentiment, whether we're talking about institutional investors or mom and pop investors or day traders or whatever. It's a reflection of the market. Now, not all of it's going to be honest, but it is a reflection of the market. And even perceptions have to have some sort of reality behind them, otherwise they become clearly lies. You know, so with regard to like IOTA and all of these other hierarchical things, again, this is why we try to place the trust outside of people. It's because people can be corruptible. People want to make money. People got bills to pay. People have emergencies. And at all of these points, they're going to be facing the decision between making a decision that will inherently enhance their own portfolio or the lives of other people. You know, where they're putting the interests of the rest of the people involved in that project at odds with their own interests. And again, it's not always a matter of choice. It's not always a matter of intent. Shit happens. That's where that came from. You know, that saying came from. You know, you can look back to the .com bubble and all that, and there are plenty of projects that on their own merits and their own profitability and their own market model and all that other shit, they should still be, by all accounts, they should still be alive right now. They should still be .coms that everybody's talking about, everybody goes to on, you know, whenever basis for whatever use case it was. But life happened. Shit happened. Lawyers happened. Divorces happened. Kids happened. Deaths happened. And some of them can be explained by conspiracy and, you know, certain people resorting to less than savory measures to enhance their competitiveness. But that's the market. You know, and I mean, we like to put all kinds of dress on it and whatnot and pretend that that's not the case, but it is the case. And it happens every day. It happens in every market. Some are more civilized and some come to resolutions a little easier than others. But there's always these issues of people using their own interests as justification for enacting policies that don't necessarily benefit the rest of the market, but do in fact enhance their own benefit. And we can look and see within Bitcoin, there's like Blockstream and Lightning Labs. You can't really blame them. I mean, come on now. There's all kinds of temptation to it. But the question is, how will the market express itself? You know, some people think that they'll be able to use Bitcoin's blockchain to do their shit behind the scenes, off-chain, right? But they'll be able to do everything on their initial transactions on-chain, all their stuff off-chain with you, and then bring it back to the on-chain. And you know, that they're going to maintain some sort of validity with that. And I think the problem with this perception is that it shifts the benefit away from the public. It shifts it to just the people that are providing this service of allowing you to use their hub to facilitate your transactions, because ultimately the fees go to them instead of the miners. And now you've disincentivized the miners, because whereas they would be servicing hundreds of thousands of transactions per 10-minute block if they were doing those transactions on chain, Goldman Sachs and Visa and the Federal Reserve are the beneficiaries of those fees, because they are the ones that are in fact facilitating the transactions. You know, it's one thing to label your node some silly, stupid name, but it's another thing for it to actually belong to some kid in Bangladesh that's doing it because he believes in Bitcoin and doesn't believe in it enough to mine. I mean, for all you know, it's a node on Visa's network. You don't know. And it's funny because I was listening to this talk that Andreas Antonopoulos was giving in actually it was one of his Q&A videos. And he answered this person's question where he was talking about the complexity of routing a Lightning Network transaction. And he mentioned specifically this thing called autopilot, which is supposedly going to do all of the routing to facilitate the transaction. And I thought about that, and it's like, okay, so I'm not manually routing my transaction. I'm not choosing the nodes that it interacts with from one point from me to somebody else. So because of that, for all I know, it's using Visa's nodes, because Blockstream has sold some deference contract to Visa. I mean, it doesn't take too much thinking to come up with this stuff. And it's not a matter of FUD, it's a matter of observed history. You can look back to a time when PayPal was not required to be a bank, but they are, for all intents and purposes, a bank these days because of changes in the regulatory system since they became a payment facilitator. And the same thing, there are people that are trying to do the same thing to Bitcoin. But I think that doing so to Bitcoin would change the merit and incentive structure enough that it would dissuade a lot of people from using Bitcoin altogether. And I think that that's a serious threat. You know, I mean, we're not talking about a system where all you have is Bitcoin, or all you have is the Federal Reserve. That's not the case anymore. That hasn't been the case since like 2011 when they started dreaming up, I think it was Filecoin or one of those other ones where they're fiddling around with the idea of doing something else with Bitcoin, or at least the code thereof, and finding their own way about it. But, you know, like I said, with regard to IOTA and IOTA's foundation, they'll figure it out that the way they're doing it right now is probably not exactly the best. And they'll right it. You know, I think the same thing is in the future for Bitcoin. That we haven't been forced to make that decision yet. Where it's going to be, you know, modify the fucking code so that the blocks are bigger or lose the hashing power. And it's pretty easy. And I thought about the 80 petahashes that Blockstream supposedly bought, and I want to check something really quick because it seemed like I got bumped from a lot of people today. A lot of that good old Blockstream Blockstream censorship coming into the Bitcoin Cash area. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Roger Ver has not blocked me. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Ver. You've confirmed that you're not entirely within the net of this whole fucking Profostus thing. I can't believe that guy fucking blocked me. It's like you're trying to prove that you're better than Bitcoin Core, but then you act like Bitcoin Core. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ. I reflect back to Vitalik Buterin's outburst. You know, I really feel like, you know, just posting that all over my Twitter feed. But, you know, honestly, I don't think that serves anybody. I mean, it happened, and it was honest, as far as I could tell. But, I don't know. I don't know that kind of division is actually what's needed within cryptocurrency. You know, but like I said, this whole game is about self-interest, and there are some people that are willing to put their self-interest above your self-interest and take choices and make choices for you. Anyway, I got this article here on Altcoin Today, and this one comes down to that choice thing. Iran steps up plan for national crypto after U.S. sanctions. Right after Washington's move to impose sanctions that will restrict Iran's access to U.S. currency, reports came out that Tehran is speeding up the project to develop a national cryptocurrency. Why? Officials in the Islamic Republic believe the state-issued coin could help circumvent the restrictions imposed by the Trump administration. Okay. Iran to evade U.S. sanctions using own crypto. Faced with renewed U.S. sanctions, Iran is accelerating the development of its national crypto as the oil-rich nation is looking for ways around the American restrictions. Despite calls from partners and signatories to the Iran nuclear deal, like the EU, Russia, and China, Washington reimposed measures targeting the ability of the Islamic Republic to acquire U.S. dollars and trade in precious metals. The United States urged allies to cut all purchases of Iranian oil, and President Trump warned that these sanctions will, quote, ratchet up to yet another level in November. Following the news from Washington this week, media reports from Tehran suggested that the Iran government is now serious about stepping up efforts to finalize the project for an indigenous cryptocurrency. On Wednesday, a day after the Trump administration restored the sanctions, a high-ranking Iranian official revealed that President Hassan Rouhani had ordered the country's central bank to hold a meeting with other relevant authorities to discuss the matter. They are expected to assess the progress in the development of Iran's digital money at a time when the fiat rial is plunging. According to Iranian English language channel Press TV, the announcement was made by the Minister of Information and Communications Technology, Mohammed Javad Jaromi, whose department will jointly chair the meeting with the Central Bank of Iran, scheduled to take place next week. Jaromi noted that the preliminary studies have been carried out already by Iran's Post Bank, which was charged with overseeing the crypto project. The CBI, however, is still opposed to the idea of using digital currencies and considers them illegal in Iran. Nevertheless, the minister hinted that this attitude could soon change, claiming that the mentality within the Iranian government is currently in favor of cryptocurrencies. Speaking to reporters, he stated, "A new attitude that has been created in the government is that digital money does not necessarily pose a security threat and can create opportunities for the country." You're goddamn right it can. Post Bank, which is building the Islamic Republic's electronic payment system, is heading the efforts to develop Iran's state-sponsored crypto. The financial institution is preparing to hold a tender for the project, and all Iranian tech experts have been invited by Minister Jaromi to take part in its realization. Post Bank's governor, Khosrow Farahi, told IRNA that a comprehensive document on the creation of the Iranian coin, which takes into account all social and economic considerations, is ready to be presented next week. Okay, whatever. Changing attitudes towards cryptocurrencies. The latest update on Tehran's plans in the crypto space comes after a high-ranking Iranian lawmaker said in July that Iran might employ cryptos as part of its efforts to circumvent the upcoming U.S. sanctions. Cryptocurrencies are one of the major mechanisms Iran can use to evade the new sanctions and get rid of the dollar hegemony. Mohammad Reza Ebrahimi, chairman of the Parliamentary Economic Commission, said in an interview with Mizan Ibrahimi's comments were followed by a statement from the Deputy for Management and Investment Affairs at the Directorate for Scientific and Technological Affairs of the Presidential Office. Alireza Deliri, my apologies on all these mispronunciations, who was quoted by ISNA saying that his department has already has a plan to create a national cryptocurrency. By all indicators, the restoration of U.S. sanctions has played a role in changing the attitude of Iranian authorities towards cryptocurrencies, as officials have previously called them unreliable and risky, while the CBI tried to prevent their use. In April, the central bank issued a statement effectively banning financial institutions from dealing in cryptocurrency. At the same time, however, the Information and Communications Ministry continued its work on creating a legal framework for the fintech industry, and CBI was part of the effort. What are your expectations about the project to create an Iranian national cryptocurrency? Do you think state-issued coins can help countries like Iran evade sanctions? Share your thoughts and blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. No, I don't think it's going to work. I think it'll be just about as effective as the Petro Bolivar or whatever, the Petro cryptocurrency that the Venezuelan government did. I don't see it as an effective idea, really, because the fact of the matter is that their whole idea is that they want to be in control of the cryptocurrency. Well, if you are in control of your cryptocurrency and you're the only people mining it, that makes you a central point of failure. if there is some way for the U.S. or other competitor or enemy to disrupt your network, you're completely fucked. I mean, really, we're going to play out every single one of the philosophical quagmires that people navigated on their way through the development of Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin didn't just occur. As it exists today, it's the product of 10 years of evolution. And so when you look at how Bitcoin has developed, it's not something that could have happened if just the United States was doing it. I mean, there have already been significant enough attacks that if all of the mining were to have been located in one geographic zone, Bitcoin would no longer be here. But it is the quote-unquote decentralized nature of mining. You know, people confuse the fuck out of that term. What makes Bitcoin decentralized is the fact that I've got a copy of the blockchain, you've got a copy of the blockchain, somebody else has a copy of the blockchain, and they're live copies, and they're being updated all the fucking time. That means that if I have a conflicting record with you, there's going to be some, like a disruption in the fork within the network. But anyway, the point being that it can't be changed. You know, they can change one set of the records, but not everybody's set of the records. And that's what makes Bitcoin accountable. Now, there have been people trying to confuse this term with things like full nodes. Oh, if you're running a full node, it decentralizes everything. No. If all of the full, quote-unquote full nodes are connecting to the same quote-unquote hub, that hub is an intermediary between you and the Bitcoin blockchain, especially if they're establishing the payment channel. You know, because that's the whole point of using LNs, is to avoid having to pay that huge miner fee. You offload that onto somebody else. Well, the counterbalance for that is that you pay them fees to include your transactions in their payment channels, or to complete them. But this is all on the assumption that all of the nodes that are in the payment channels are honest, that there's no adversaries and there's nobody out there to fuck you out of your money. And all this talk of, oh, well, they can't take your money. Bullshit. If there's a way to figure out how to take your money, they'll take your fucking money. But in my mind, it's introducing a lot of vulnerabilities in the whole process of getting transactions counted on the blockchain that don't need to exist. We do not need third parties between us and the miners. I mean, of course, you've got plenty of people that are willing to volunteer their services, and they might even do it at a cheap rate to begin with. But, you know, we can look back over the history of Bitcoin and see where fees were fractions of a penny on the Bitcoin network for on-chain transactions. We can see it. It's there. We've got records of it. But then over time it went up, and it went up so fast at one point during this last year that it was getting up there over $100 for some people to move funds on the Bitcoin network. And that, if you were to go back when we were talking about moving tens of thousands of dollars for fractions of a penny, and telling them then, hey, you know what? At some point, we're going to restrict the block size so that it costs over $100 for you to process a transaction. Fuck, Bitcoin never would have made it to 2012 if anybody said that to anybody else. If they had said at one point or another, we plan to shift all of the transaction processing off to third parties, trusted third parties, the network never would have made it till now. There's such a fucking bait and switch in contradiction to the original intent of Bitcoin. I mean, it's fraud. I mean, it's fucking fraud. But because we don't have leaders and whatnot, it's really hard to say that that's quote unquote fraud, despite the fact that it actually is. Mislabeling a product from one thing to another and changing it behind the scenes without notifying the people that are actually participating in it is fraud. It's bait and switch. It's outright fraud. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down just a teeny tiny more music to close this one out. I'm getting a little tired, and I didn't actually have any additional stuff. But I'm sure I'll talk a little bit more at the end. I'm going to throw in a little bit of body count, just because I haven't. And, it's that time. A little bit of bloodlust for you. Body count here on Coin Metal. And that was Clutch with X-Ray Visions. And, we're closing it out for the evening with that. But, what is to be learned from all of this? Well, I can say this, that for the most part, all of this shit is irrelevant. What's really important is, A, does the project work? Meaning, does it do what it says it does? And B, do you actually use it? I think that's something that a lot of people tend to forget, when they're saying, oh, we're going to make block size increases, or we're going to go off chain, or we're going to change our governance structure, or we're going to change our board members or whatever. What they don't seem to understand is that, when you make those top-down types of decisions and types of statements, that you can make the change for yourself, and you can even offer up the implementation to be actually utilized by the market. But the question is, does the market actually utilize it? Does the market care as much about your project as you do? And then I'm going to leave you to resolve that one for yourself. And it is with that I'd like to close this out. Thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. You can find me on Twitter. You can find this episode up on YouTube, also on Facebook, and in the Telegram channel for Verge Currency, as well as the Discord. And so until Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'd like y'all to trade safe. Do your homework! And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Most certainly not the IOTA Foundation. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent evening. Or weekend, rather. And as far as our last dance for the evening, it's going to be Disturbed, Indestructible. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent evening.